Jagex has recently reverted the nerf to NEX's drop rate, back down to 1 out of 43 for any drop. This has dramatically boosted her GP an hour even higher than it was before, even though the drops have gone down slightly besides the ZCB. Total in NEX kill is about 7 mil GP as of writing the script. With my team strategies in a 6-man, we can hit 14 kills per hour and make just over 16 million GP an hour. I figured this would be a great time to come back to NEX with an advanced tactics guide, as I've developed a lot of new strategies to reduce risk and increase those kill speeds. This is a follow-up to my main guide, so if you haven't seen that yet, you might want to check that out first. First, let's talk about melee versus ranged again, because somehow this is still a debated topic. And I really hate talking about this because it's so obvious that melee is better, but rangers are seriously adamant about what weapon they use. I don't care what you do at NEX, but I personally want to find and use the most efficient methods anywhere I do content, not the most relaxing or chill strategies. My tanky Blood Fury Carol setup with Rapier is 30% better than max range ZCB with Buckler, 37% better than ZCB Spectral or Ellie. And most people I see are using Ellie or Spectral, not Buckler. Each of these is 2% higher with my Bone Dagger tech, which I'll get into later. This is where the argument should stop, but it doesn't. People still claim you lose too many ticks for this to be worth it, or it reduces trip lengths. If your switches are so bad you lose 30% of your ticks through a kill to a 4-way switch, be my guest, keep camping ranged. It makes a lot of sense in that case. NEX is so much money that it would be worth learning until you aren't losing that many ticks though, even if that is you. No judgment. The argument about it not being viable for trip length is pretty silly too from my experience. The goal is to simply hit 40 KC before you bank, and in a 6-man this is always doable no matter the supply drops due to the tankiness of Carols plus the healing of Blood Fury, even with inventory slots lost to switches. It takes practice for melee to become viable, as you need to not take pointless damage, but it is absolutely the best method for kill speed, and my techs have boosted its viability even further. Whew, glad that's over with. Now that all the rangers have clicked off, let's move on to my slightly revised setup. I've added a ZCB switch and shield switch to my setup, which also requires bolts. The reason this is worth it is that ZCB is a lot better DPS on NEX in this setup than T-Bow, around 15%. That's without even mentioning its special attack. But T-Bow is still incredibly good against minions. For shield, Ellie is greater than Spectral. After that, just run no shield if you have neither of those. Buckler's not really worth the slot over a brew in my opinion. Ellie, from my experience, saves roughly 2 doses of brew per kill, depending on how you use it. Spectral a bit less, but it also saves prayer. Whenever I am targeted by NEX, I camp my shield to prevent the damage, then switch back to a Vernic. You can also flick the shield whenever possible to help lengthen trips further. You're going to have to share supplies with teammates depending on who got targeted most. I also hit NEX at the beginning a tick before she's vulnerable on purpose to make shield flicking very easy at the start. With Spectral, you can also help your team by taking Virus and camping Spectral. It will reduce the prayer drain of the Virus. My first added tech involves a special attack weapon called the Bone Dagger. Yes, this is a real strat, not just a meme, and it is actually really good. I'll break down how this thing works since almost none of you have probably ever used it. The Bone Dagger has the exact same stats as an Iron Dagger, and is also 4 tick like the Rapier. The difference being it has a special attack called Backstab. This special attack uses 75% of your special attack meter, and if someone else was the last person to attack your target and not you, it is a guaranteed hit and has the same effect as a BGS, draining defense directly for damage dealt. This on paper is pretty terrible, but against insanely defensive monsters that cannot be drained much, which is basically just Nex and Callisto, this is an incredibly good spec on one member of the team. Just send the spec right after your team attacks Nex on the first hit for a guaranteed hit that also drains her. Nex can only be drained at 10 defense levels, and the Bone Dagger, even with its awful stats, maxes a 31 in my setup due to our strength bonus. Bone Dagger is roughly a 90 to 100 total DPS spec over a Nex kill due to it boosting your entire team's damage, versus the DPS of a ZCB spec being around 20. It's really hard to calculate defense draining specs, but considering how long a Nex kill is, it is definitely better than a regular spec on one of your teammates. If someone is not bringing ZCB, having them swap their claws for Bone Dagger is a solid option. Even in a team with everyone owning ZCB, I would still have someone bring Dagger. This is a much better option than BGS or Warhammer on Nex due to their low accuracy, high weight, and low tick speed. A Bone Dagger special attack is 1% better than Rapier Swing due to it skipping the accuracy check, Effectively, it just replaces a rapier swing and it drains NEX. The next techs I've worked on all revolve around staying safe on P2. I'm not fond of Embrace Darkness as guaranteed death, so we've found ways to avoid it. I'll go through them in the order we use them in the fight, but they all revolve around keeping NEX in the center of the room and away from Umbra. Really important things to understand with every tech I've added is that NEX has a 10 tile range, which when she is in the center perfectly ends at the lines from the corners of all the minions. If someone is not in range of NEX, she cannot choose them as a tank and they completely avoid all damage. I heavily abuse this throughout the fight now. I was using the radius markers in this footage. I normally don't bother with this as I know what NEX's range is from most positions, but it helps to visualize what I'm doing here for the footage. Feel free to copy my settings if you want to use this for yourself. First is Fumis resets. My tiles are really important for this. My disgusting rainbow tiles have me calling this clown tech. I'll put a link to a paste bin with my tile indicators in the description. Each starting tile around NEX is tied to a set of tiles by Fumis. When we push NEX down to Fumis HP, we run to our inner set of tiles determined by where we started. Our goal now is to narrow down who the tank is and move everyone else to their outer set of tiles. This accomplishes 3 things. It forces the team to be spread for virus. It prevents NEX from switching targets, meaning only one person on the team needs to tank any damage from NEX for this time, and it allows this person to reset NEX back to the center if she enters melee mode. That last bit is the main reason we do this, as it keeps P2 consistent for our next tech. You might be wondering why the tiles are one extra tile past the corridors. This is because NEX can melee from her corners, so this prevents her from meleeing as she sprints up towards us. Next are P2 resets. This technique was known for a long time, I didn't invent this one. We all DD at the back wall here. Crossbowers flinch shots, T-bowers camp AFK at the back wall. When NEX runs up in melee mode, when she is a tile away from you, run underneath her to reset her back to the center. This prevents people from dying when NEX enters melee mode when she uses Embrace Darkness, and minimizes damage taken by always being at max range. Be careful with your reset if she has smudged a tile off where she should be. NEX moves 2 tiles per tick, so if she's up a tile, you will need to go under her a lot earlier than you would think. If someone ever misses a reset, have the tank immediately go under and pray to get the reset then. If that still fails to work, you're going to need someone to go behind NEX and drag her back. Try not to miss the reset, it causes a ton of problems. Next tech is Umbra tank. We still used to do this, but it's been refined a lot to make it even more consistent. Umbra maxes at 28 and is fairly accurate. Because we are praying ranged for this phase, we need to find a way for the target of Umbra to avoid NEX and pray protect from magic. Assign an Umbra tank ahead of time. Usually this is the person who doesn't have a T-bow, so that way they can blowpipe, or just a random player if you all have that gear. At between 2200 to 2300 HP left, the Umbra tank should move to the northeastern corner next to Umbra and pray mage. When Umbra becomes active, she will randomly pick from anyone in range. If this is only the Umbra tank, it is guaranteed to choose them, so the rest of the team needs to remain at the reset wall until NEX shouts, "Umbra, don't fail me." Because NEX can only pick a new target when she starts an attack, you can actually flinch shots at NEX from this tile until Umbra becomes active and lose almost no DPS. Once Umbra has picked the Umbra tank, the entire team moves to this tile and fires at Umbra. Like with the Fumis tiles, this is 1 tile past the corridor and allows resets should NEX decide to try to melee. The Umbra tank is 100% safe here as long as the rest of the team nails every reset. The next tech I call stalling or zoning, and this applies to any of the next phases. It's more of a simple concept than anything really extraordinary. Anytime you're dragging NEX or under her, she is not attacking. This means anytime you can be doing this without losing ticks, it's a win for your supplies and trip length. Anytime I'm attacking Cruor or Glacies, I'm thinking about how I can be dragging or stalling when I'm the tank. The goal is to end the phase with NEX near you, but having stalled as much as possible. If the minion is about to die, you don't want to reset NEX to center, but maybe you can stall a tiny bit while attacking and then step out of her. If you just started minion phase, resetting NEX to center makes a whole lot of sense because you can immediately begin dragging her back. This is all super general. End phases with NEX nearby so less ticks are wasted running to her, but also stall as much as possible to avoid damage. There are 2 special attacks you can do this with really easily. Anytime a Blood Reaver spawns near or under NEX, the tank can stand under NEX while attacking the Reaver, losing no DPS. This doesn't always work out this way, but it's really good when you see a Reaver spawn there. Contain This is by far the easiest special attack to abuse this with as well. If the tank is outside of Nex's range during Contain This, she will not attack whatsoever until it ends, and then she will dash up. This is super convenient towards the end of Glacie's HP, as you can dash NEX right next to you for the start of P5. There's also a follow stall tech that I'm aware of. Basically, if the tank is following a teammate, it prevents NEX from moving like the olden red-click door stall days. I found this to be not very worth it. It wastes a ton of DPS and introduces risk of NEX dashing around the room, which wastes even more DPS. When we were trying this strat, our kill time slowed down a lot, and we didn't even really usually squeeze out an extra kill using it. If you're watching this video near when it goes up, I'll be streaming NEX. I'll be streaming pet hunts and raids in the future as well, so hop in and throw me a follow if you're interested in any of that. And that's it for the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and or subscribe. Thanks, guys.